Welcome back to the Boot Up or Shut Up podcast, where we talk everything Louisiana sports. And you know what time it is. It's football season. The Saints last weekend kicked off the Kellen Moore era. LSU had a lackluster performance against La Tech. And man, national media is still disrespecting Louisiana sports. And this time they're going all the way down to the high school levels. We're going to talk about that and a whole bunch more as we kick off the latest Boot Up or Shut Up podcast. Go ahead and play my theme music, which I still don't have. It's coming. All right, it's coming. Stick with me. Enjoy this random music, though. So let's start off in the dome where the Kellen Moore era finally kicked off. No more DA, no more Sean Payton residue hanging around the building. It's a new era, including new uniforms and new end zones. Touch on that in a minute, too. But man, look, the game overall was better than anybody could have expected. And I wasn't being an optimist, but I just said, look, all I asked for was to not get blown out this season and to show progress. And the Saints came down to the second to last play of the game and had a chance to win it. And almost did, man. So if you're a true Saints fan and just want things to be on the up and understand what's happening this season, you have to be a proud fanatic. Not a fan, a fanatic if you're watching this team. So lots of people had decent games. The ageless wonder that is Cam Jordan had 1.5 sacks, showed out that he still got it with, if he gets the chance. You had DeMario Davis playing like he was 20 years old out there doing it. And, overall the team did great. Everybody had things that they can improve on, and we'll touch on that in a second here. But let's just talk about the first thing, and I'm going to delete all that stuff. So the game recap as a whole, the team showed promise. A slow start. The defense came out super strong, had 3 sacks in the first quarter, I believe, if it's not just the first half. They were holding down the passing game, had Kellen Moore going side to side instead of going downfield like he's able to do. And so you couldn't have asked for a better start. Where it kind of fell apart was towards the end of the second quarter and most of the third quarter. I don't know what the team was doing. Questionable coaching decisions, lackluster effort, huge run by the Cardinals backup running back Trey Benson, but the play was made in the backfield and just a missed tackle turned into like a 52-yard run when it should have been like a 4-yard loss. The defense would have had a stellar run defense stat line had that one play not happened. But they were getting after the quarterback, keeping things in front of them. Marvin Harrison Jr. had a pretty quiet day. Yeah, he had a touchdown, but it was a good design with a wide receiver pick in there that probably could have been called. He had a deep pass down the sideline, and one that Kellen Moore missed that would have been like a 98, 99-yard touchdown. So the defense as a whole came out and showed what they could be and be better. And as we know, they're probably going to be the strength of the team this year because there is nothing else. And so you look on the offensive side, AK still got it. He showed who he was, man. AK had his grilling and his game on. He scored the touchdown early on, the long touchdown the Saints had on a great run with great blocking from everybody that was involved. Tight ends, old lineman pulling. Kendrick Miller showed flashes. Lave and Juwan Johnson had great games catching the ball. We'll get to Juwan in a minute. I know everybody's talking about him, but, Olave showed some tenacity and some grit by coming back in the game 2 or 3 times. I hate these bubble screens when you leave a defender completely unblocked, because if they don't brain fart, then what happened to Olave is going to happen. They're unblocked. They have a beeline. You see the screen coming. And, he toughed out that hit and a few other plays, but he went out the game and came back in all the way to the last drive catching balls. Spencer Rattler, man, look, not going to harp on it. He had an average day, which is okay. He's not the reason you lost the game. But for a lot of people, looking at the way the quarterbacks play this year in NFL now, he wasn't the reason you won the game. But I'll tell you this, when it hit the fan and they needed it in that last 2-minute drive, when the defense stood up, Brian Bazee blocked the field goal to keep it within 1 score, Rattler went down and put the team in position to score and threw the only dime that he could throw. Threw a dime between 2 defenders, got it to the receiver, tight end, which was Juwan Johnson, who made the catch, and the defense made a good play. He didn't come down with it. Or you'd be talking about the team a lot different today. So only thing they could do is go up from here. A lot of great performances. Bad ones, the O-line still. Cesar Ruiz, what happened? I mean, he wasn't great, but what the hell has happened in 2 years? Like, if Trevor Penning was out there, we would be talking about Cesar Ruiz looking worse than Trevor Penning. And y'all know people like to pick out on Penning. Like, yo, you might not need to have a job. When Penning come back, they might need to put Penning over there. Because I don't know what the hell you're doing, but you are getting quarterback killed and plays blown up. And you're going to get somebody hurt, man. Fuaga didn't have the greatest day either. The right side was just not great. So lots of improvement that can be made. But all in all, you couldn't ask for a better game, even in a losing effort, than to see the production that came out of that game. And it's optimism for what's happening going forward. Now I got to talk about my second line players. My second line players came, and again, if you remember, we introduced this last week. And there's guys who might not be the quarterback. It might not be DeMario Davis or the star. But it's people who need to step up and have a great game so that the team has an opportunity to win. Offense, it was the running backs. And I believe they did the job. AK had a great game with the run earlier in the game. Kendrick Miller showed flashes. I feel that they were running 4 or 5 yards a clip, it felt like, when they had run plays, and they just got away from it. So the running backs did their job to keep pressure as much as they could off of the quarterback. The line, the receivers blocked well. They just didn't stick with it. On defense, it was Kool-Aid McKinstry. He started off real hot. He questionable pass interference call. And I know why they called it. He had a hold of the jersey, but it didn't impede Marvin Harrison Jr. from catching the ball. But what it did do was show that he was tugging the jersey. And so with that, you're going to get the flag. And so he didn't even need to do it. He had great angle on the play. He didn't need to do that. After that, man, my wild card was Juwan Johnson. And I say Juwan Johnson because you need to have somebody open up the middle of the field and be a safety valve for Spencer Rattler. And Juwan had an amazing game. It just has to be consistent. Juwan, I think, had 8 catches, led both teams in catches. And everybody's going to harp on his last play. Juwan went up. Beautiful ball by Spencer. Juwan went up in traffic, had his hands on the ball in his hands, tucking it, coming down. But give credit. And everybody's giving credit to Budda Baker. I mean, yes, he's come underneath and hit a hit. But it was the defender that was in the front who had his hand in the chest between the ball and Juwan Johnson. And he was able to strip it out on the way down. I tweeted him out. Go look at it. There's a couple pictures and angles are zoomed in. Juwan has the ball tucking it. This guy has his hand between the ball and Juwan's chest, while they're both in the air. So they're both doing something crazy while they're in the air and have no literal leg to stand on. So, yeah, he could have came down with it. Yeah, you expect him to, and everybody wants to harp on it because of the contract he got. But what that tells you is that he is going to be a big part of the Kellen Moore offense, in which we already do that because he loves tight ends. So, Juwan, man, look, it's going to be a great year if he stays healthy. They're going to feed him, and he is going to need to produce. He's going to need to make that catch in the future when we really have to have it. But it was a great game, battled back. So I think I hit on my second line. Like, this is the first time we did it. I think I hit on all 3. Kool-Aid, room for improvement, right? But we're going to make it. We're going to be good. All right, we got to talk about Kellen Moore's debut. Overall, it was okay. I know there's a lot of jokes going on online about the timeouts. One tweet I saw, and I forgot who it was. I believe it was Matt Flynn of Off the Bench, was like, hey, maybe he forgot that he's in charge of calling timeouts now. And if you wonder, it's referencing at the end of the second quarter, Arizona has the ball in the red zone with like a minute and some change left. Saints have all 3 timeouts, and we didn't use any. Conventional wisdom says start taking the timeouts. They only got 4 plays to score. If they score, you get the ball back with a chance to at least go down and get a field goal. You get the ball back. You get a chance, an opportunity. And Kellen decided to swallow it. They actually scored on second down, maybe third down. Had he called timeout, they would have had clearly close to a minute left with the ball in 2 timeouts-ish. They score. The Saints get the ball back 28 seconds in 3 timeouts. And they try one play, it goes nowhere, and then they go to halftime with 3 timeouts in his pocket. After the game, he talked about, basically, they talked about calling the timeouts, but because they were getting the ball back to start the second half, they didn't want to pretty much risk anything bad happening, which tells me he was scared, and he was coaching scared at first. Real conservative. You didn't know what you had in Spencer Rattler. You didn't want to be like, all right, Spencer, we got a minute and some change left. Let's go down here and try to score. And then he throws a pick and gives up more points, and you deeper in the hole than you already were. I get it. So It went to the halftime 17-7. But you playing with house money, Kellen. Like, it doesn't matter if you lose these games. You need to develop these people and develop yourself as a coach. So that was a mistake. Let's just be real. I see what he was trying to do, but you were playing scared. You want your players to not play scared. The coaches can't play scared either. So you got to use the timeouts. Coach like you want to win, Kellen. Like you want to win and keep it going. But outside of that, man, he did a great job. You saw a lot of movement on the offense. You saw some plays drawn up to design to throw fits to the defense. As I said, he used the tight ends as we knew he would. Even the run game had a little flow to it. Only other thing we could bring up and talk about is, the chance that you need to throw some deep shots. And it's easy to say. You hear a lot of pundits talking about it this week. The Arizona was playing a lot of shell defense, which basically means they were playing over the top and not giving anything to be beat deep. I mean, like I said last time, we have an Olympic track team at wide receiver. And the one that Spencer did try to throw deep, he threw a pick. And that's just he didn't throw a good ball. And the receiver actually wasn't good. He threw the ball 5 yards past the receiver, never gave him a chance. And you look at the video, it looks like Rashid slowed down a bit too, which didn't help. So not a great play. But you got to try. If you don't try, they're just going to stack the box or bring it down low. You have the receivers to do it. Even if it's an overthrow out of bounds, you have to give the appearance that you're going to try it. So they got to figure out ways to work that in their offense. But overall, man, I think Moore did a great job calling the plays, handling the team, and he ended it with a great message in the locker room. You heard a few guys talk about it at the podium. All this loss means is that they're not going to go undefeated. It doesn't mean anything else. So they get to write their own story. So great job overall for his first time. Definitely room for improvement. Now, my last tidbit about the Saints. Can we talk about the uniforms? And I don't want to talk about, they're golden. Cool. I don't even care about that part. I just saw online that the Saints Twitter posted that congratulations, Joe Horn is going to go in the Louisiana Hall of Fame, Sports Hall of Fame, something of that nature. Great. All that did was remind me that all these old clips I keep seeing online of, 2006 Breeze's first game, the Katrina game, a comeback from Katrina, some Aaron Brooks highlights he's seen with Joe Horn. None of the uniforms match. What's the problem? Mickey, Gail, somebody, Kai, somebody up there, say something. Kellen Moore, you're new. Kellen, I feel like you have common sense, and that's why I'm going to rock with you until you show me differently. Kellen, open your mouth. We tired. It's like the only combination that matches is the black pants with the white jersey and the black numbers. Because you can hardly mess that up. What we doing? Can we just match? It's like y'all are trying to find a way to use every spectrum of gold there is in the uniforms. Like, we just got to represent gold. So he's going to have light gold, dark gold, old gold, new. Pick a color gold that is in your brand and use it. It ain't that hard. It's 2025. I could take a picture of this t-shirt, take it to Home Depot, and they can make me a can of paint that matches this t-shirt. It ain't that hard for y'all professionals with money who can hire brand managers and engineers and scientists to come up with a damn color of gold that matches the helmet and then put it on the jerseys. Nike, it's your fault too, because you got the contract. Somebody at Nike should be like, this don't match. Somebody, somewhere. Like, this has been going on too long. Like, I don't understand it. What do we need to do? What do we need to do to get something? The end zones didn't even match the damn uniforms. They're like, it's the first time we had gold end zones since the Super Bowl we won. Did y'all see that video? The gold in the goal in the end zone didn't even match the goal in the end zone Sunday. We just out here just doing we not good enough. We're not good enough to have multiple colors of gold. It don't make no damn sense. Pick one and let's roll with that one. That's the end of my rant for right now, but pick one, damn it. But enough about the opener and the crappy uniforms. Let's get to the game that's coming up. We got the 49ers coming to town. Old NFC West rival. I still hate them. I promise when I was a kid and used to go to the same games, I used to have so much promise and hope because we had the Dome Patrol and Bobby Hebert was slinging it. And then the 49ers won the division every time because they had Joe Montana and Jerry Rice and Roger Craig. Then they had Steve Young. We never beat them. Maybe once. I think we won the division like in 91. I don't know. I think Joe left. Something happened. But then we still lost in the playoffs, so who cares? I don't like the 49ers. I don't want them to prosper. But good news, man. It's not good. Sorry. That's rude. News, but I'm going to take it. They're going to be out without George Kittle, who went on IR and screwed up my fantasy team in 2 leagues. And then Brock Purdy apparently has some kind of turf toe, so he's just announced he's going to be out 2 to 5 weeks. So we're saying there's a chance that the Saints could finally get a win in the first 4 games because it wasn't looking pretty. They was probably going to go 0-4, so this is their real only chance. Go to Seattle next week. Seattle ain't great, but you're on the road. And then you go to Buffalo. That ain't happening. So we got a chance. We need to beat the Niners, and that's going to take our second line players to really mix it up and come in. This week, my second line players on offense is 2 people. I need the tackles to step up. So that's Fuaga and Banks. You didn't hear the rookie Banks' name mentioned 1 time last week, which means the most because nothing happened. That means he did his job. So you got Nick Bosa and whoever else coming through with Robert Saleh coming. They're going to get after the quarterback. Fred Warner in the middle. They're going to get after the quarterbacks. I need the tackles to really set the edge for the running game, for these wide receiver bubble screens that Kellen wants to throw, and to try to keep Spencer upright or at least give him a lane to scoot and go out and get some yards with his legs. On defense, I got to go with Pete Warner. Quiet as just kept, man, Pete Warner had a really good opening game. I believe he had 8 solo tackles, maybe 9. He tied DeMario Davis for the team lead in tackles. And a solid game. With Purdy being out, it's the Mac Jones show going on in San Francisco, which means lots of Christian McCaffrey and probably Brian Robinson Jr., who they traded for right before season started. DeMario, we know what we're going to get from DeMario. I just said, we got 3 sacks last week, so we got Granderson, we got Chase Young probably going to still be out. And so then we got Cam on the other side. The D tackle's going to need to do a job. But I need Pete Warner to make sure McCaffrey doesn't go off, to make sure Brian Robinson doesn't go off, to make sure coming out the backfield they are covered, right? So Pete Warner is part of my second line for this week. And then my wild card, 2 weeks in a row, man, Juwan Johnson. I'm going to go back to the well because I think that he has something to prove coming off of the drop. And also Fred Warner, the pass rush, not too worried about the secondary. But Fred Warner in the pass rush, they are coming after Spencer, and they're not going to give him a lot of time, which means he needs a quick outlet. That's the running backs, but most importantly down the field, that's Juwan Johnson. So Juwan Johnson is my wild card to have a good game to make sure that the Saints have a chance to win. So that's a wrap. I feel like my prediction is the Saints will win this game because of the injuries. And from what I saw last week, I feel confident. I don't think it's going to be anything crazy. I think it'll be a close game throughout. And I think the Saints, groupie field goal, not a game winner, but we'll win by a groupie field goal. So that is it for the Saints. Preview against the 49ers. Drop in the comments below 2 questions. Do you think the Saints win this week and finally get on the board? And my second one, am I the only person tired of these uniforms that don't never match? Just drop a comment below, man. Let me know what you're thinking about, okay? Now let's head up to Baton Rouge, where the Tigers did what they were supposed to do against Louisiana Tech. Ho-hum game, not that exciting. Yeah, I watched and sat through all of it. They did what they're supposed to do. The biggest things that came out of there were Braylon Moore and Trey Green got hurt. Both got rolled up on some running plays. The defense looked amazing for pretty much the whole game. The only score Louisiana Tech had was a blown coverage on 4th down from a DB who came in the game for like the first or second time, and he just blew the coverage. And so they got a wide open pass on an all-out blitz, walked in the end zone. But the defense showed the consistency you want to see. Offensively, Barry and Brown, electric. You put the ball in his hands, you can see the punt return skills when he's at wide receiver. He went up and got one I thought it was going to be a pick. He went up and got it, caught in the middle field, and then made his way to the sideline, cut back, zoomed back, had some more yardage, and it's just crazy what that guy can do with the ball in his hands. Harlem Berry, same thing. Harlem Berry took advantage, had a couple of runs, not a lot of runs given to him, opportunities, but he had a long 48-yarder, I believe, took it up the middle, made a cut, and got some blocking from my next standout, Aaron Anderson. Just Mr. Dependable, Mr. Reliable on this team. On that Harlem Berry run where Harlem goes to the right, cuts back to the left, and starts making his way across the field up the left sideline. You can see in the video Aaron Anderson coming from like 10 yards behind him to get in front of him to make some key blocks and give him extra yards. And outside of that, man, Anderson is just, again, he's going to make tough catches. He's going to be there when Nuss needs him, and he needs to be featured. I think he's an NFL talent. He shows it. He's in the mode of a slot receiver who, again, you just give him the ball, he's going to make plays. So those three stood out. Nuss had a rough day, if we're going to be honest, not very consistent. He threw a pick on the first drive, and it wasn't because he threw a pick. He just threw a underthrown ball. Receiver had, Barry Brown was the receiver, had about a 5-yard step. Nuss underthrows the ball gets tipped back and then picked off. He hits him in stride on that one. It's a touchdown. We're talking about a whole different game on like the third play of the game, and it's opened up. He did throw a pass to Nick Anderson, who got his first touchdown as a Tiger in Tiger Stadium. But there was just some other reads he missed, and he just didn't look comfy all night. Credit to Louisiana Tech, man. They came down there and played a hell of a game. They were putting pressure on our O-line and us. And, yeah, LSU was up 23-0 most of the game, but it wasn't close. But, man, they got to do better. And they got to do better with the Florida Gators coming to town. Florida lost to South Florida last week. Bums. Right? And so Billy Napier is on the hot seat. He don't even call it the hot seat. That mug is burning. He damn near in hell. They wanted him out last year until he beat LSU. And then, yeah, you lose this game. And they have a gauntlet coming up. They got LSU. They got South Carolina, Tennessee. Somebody else I am missing. Texas, I believe. Ole Miss, Georgia. And they still got to play Florida State, who might be improved by the time they play each other from what they are now. So this is like a 5-game stretch right here, starting with LSU. That is terrible. And, yeah, you probably ain't going to see Napier make it to Halloween, bro. It's a wrap for him. But about the game, a lot of people missing from last year on Florida's defense, who was just all over the place and had, I believe, 7 sacks in the game against LSU. Just killed them. LSU one-time possession almost 3-1. They had the ball for like 40-something minutes last game. Lots of long drives. And the difference in the game was LSU just didn't finish their drives. They ended them with field goal, which is a problem that we're seeing right now. As I just said, they scored 23 points against Louisiana Tech. Scored 17 against a good Clemson defense. But both games, man, the first game, a lot of different features for tight ends and running backs. Our receivers didn't really get in the game. This one, yeah, you got Barry and Brown and Aaron Anderson involved. And Nick Anderson had a touchdown, but it wasn't consistent, right? You didn't run the ball great either. You got in the red zone, you couldn't finish it off. So if LSU don't show up and have some kind of efficiency with this offense, they're going to lose to Florida again. And this time is going to be a major upset because you're ranked number 3 and they just lost to South Florida. So, look, they got to get it together. BK took credit in the locker room and on the podium after the game and said it starts with the coaches. It's coach speak, but I believe he's subtle hint. He's talking about Joe Sloan. Sloan got to do something, bro. Sloan, I ain't trying to diss him. I feel like Joe Sloan got the job because he was already there and because he had because he had a relationship in recruiting Bryce Underwood. So he was definitely keeping the job after last year because Bryce loved him. I think Joe Sloan's a great quarterbacks coach, as evident with Daniels and Nussmeier. I think he's a good game planner. I don't know if he's a good offensive coordinator. He was at Louisiana Tech for a while before he came to us, so not knocking him. He's a great recruiter. I just ain't seen it with the calling the plays yet. We have too much talent. We need, and look, ride the hot hand. It doesn't matter who gets the ball. Whoever's open, Nuss is going to get it to him. But we just ain't got no flow. We are not doing anything that makes any sense. 3rd and short, 2nd and short. We're in shotgun, which is I know everybody's go-to right now. Surprise me and everybody else and get under center once or twice. Run the ball. Run a counter. Xavier Thomas needs to get the ball more out of the backfield. He might be your complement runner to Caden Durham. But man, Joe Sloan just I don't know, bro. It's just right. It ain't happening right now. So I think when BK is talking about the coaches need to be better, he is talking about all coaches, but I don't think it's just coach speak. I think he's talking to Joe Sloan. And so we just need to make sure that we come in with the same intensity. The defense has shown that they can be who we think they are. And so that's going to give DJ Lagway and that offense some issues. But we just have to make sure that the offense comes through with some consistency, move the ball, and finish off drives. Or it's going to be a bad day. We're going to hear that stupid song. It's great to be a Florida Gator. God, I hate that stupid thing. I went to the swamp and they just wear it out too much. And look, let's be honest. For me, Florida is a bigger rivalry than Alabama. I know that's probably controversial to say, but who cares? Florida is a bigger rival to LSU than Alabama is. I mean, over the last since 2007 when they were really good and we had the 2 overtime game which we won en route to win our national championship first, the one on the Les Miles in '07. Like the series is 11-7, so that's why I think it's a rival. I think it's a rival because this game goes back and forth. Both teams are usually good. It's a hard hitting game. It's always a close game. Something crazy happens. 2 years ago, 3 years ago, whatever. I've been long, like years are rolling by. A few years ago, we had the shoe toss in the fog. Last year, they were dead in the water and they beat us. A couple years ago, it was hey man, the hurricane happened and we need to shift the game. The game got shifted to Florida because we had to evacuate. And then, they didn't want to be hospitable and like flip the game back. So they had to play 2 years in a row in Florida. Like it was all kinds of, every year is something with this game every year. And so I don't think it's bad blood, like for real. I think we are truly more rivals with Florida than we are with Alabama. And we've won 4 out of the last 5. Had 4 in a row and then last year happened, I guess. So we have just got to win this game because it's a true rivalry game. I'm interested to see if it is going to stick around once they go to this new schedule next year with the 9 opponents. I got some thoughts about that. We're going to have a special episode just about that. But we have to beat this team and keep the momentum going. There is a chance that Kellen Moore, the center, can come back. He's practiced this week. We'll see how it goes. It might just be a game time decision. I don't think you need him. DJ Chester should be okay. I don't think you need him to beat Florida. So I would prefer you rest him. Next week you play Southeastern Louisiana. He can rest again. And then you play Ole Miss. So I would rather have him for the Ole Miss game than this game. If he's there with the uniform on and you need him, then you put him in afterwards. But I think you can go ahead and rest him. I predict LSU will take care of business. And truth be told, the way the defense is playing and offensive playmakers who are stepping up, I think it'll be a 2-score win at home in Tiger Stadium. And we'll see how it goes, man. Just trying to make it game by game. 2-0. Let's try to go 1-0 this week and beat the damn Florida Gators. All right. And finally, we're going to close this out with the normal, man. Respect the boot segment. This week's Respect the Boot, I had to go down to the high school level because I saw a post on Facebook yesterday. Good friend of my childhood friend, grew up together, high school, church, all that. Chris Johnson, man. He lives out in Florida now. And he posted that New Orleans High School from the West Bank, Edna Karr, is hosting Booker T. Washington out of Miami, I believe, from Florida this weekend in the Superdome. So Louisiana versus Florida under the bright lights of the Superdome this weekend, and the game is not on ESPN. And I know you're like, oh man, it's a high school game. Look at your program right now. I'm about to say program guide. We ain't had TV guides and stuff like that in like 30 years. But look, when you turn on tomorrow, you can go right now and look and see what the schedule says. Every Friday, Thursday, Friday, they have high school games. I think 2 weeks ago when high school football kicked off, it was like California, like Mater Dei, which is a big school, versus somebody in Florida. One-sided, wasting my time. Right? So they have these state versus state games, especially early in the season. So ESPN is highlighting high school games, at least 2 or 3. Florida is a hotbed for football and talent. Louisiana is a hotbed per capita, puts out the most NFL talent per capita. Our state is not as big as California, Texas, and Florida, but we produce more per capita football talent. And Edna Karr isn't just a school. They just have state championship. They've won a few state championships in the last year. Shout out to them. They blew up my high school last week. They played. It wasn't close. It wasn't a good game. But look, Karr ain't just a run-of-the-mill school. And so they have a few players going to LSU, another couple high-rated recruits. So I don't understand, why they can't get their moment to shine, man. So that's my respect to boot, man, this week. ESPN, do better. Spread the wealth. You got Georgia versus Cali, Texas versus Ohio, other random. Show Louisiana some love, man. It ain't always got. It's usually just the only time I see it on there. I think Fournette was on there when he was at St. Aug, And maybe the next year or two they'll put these young high schoolers next year. It's like 3 top quarterback recruits coming out of Louisiana. So they're probably the ones that get on TV. But man, look, show some love. So shout out to the Karr Cougars, and I hope y'all get a big dub this weekend in the Superdome. Saints uniforms. LSU's defense looks nasty, and a high school in Florida is coming down, probably catching the bus with the Florida Gators to the boot to play some football this weekend. So it's an exciting weekend, man. I feel like the boot can go undefeated this weekend Tulane's playing well. The Saints have an opportunity to beat the 49ers. LSU is going to hold down the Gators, and Carr should take care of business against Booker T. Washington. It is a packed weekend of college football, pro football. It's the best time of the year. And you can find all things Louisiana. We're going to talk about it in the way that we do and how we do right here on the Boot Up or Shut Up podcast. So make sure you subscribe, like, follow us on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it. Follow me on Instagram at Just2Kosher, JUST, the number 2KOSHER. And that's going to do it, man. Look, appreciate y'all for the support. And look, I'm still looking for a theme song. You want to come up with the boot up or shut up theme song? Hit me up. I appreciate it. Peace.